Time for a story, everyone. The Mermaid, written by Sapphire Lion 15. Being fresh out of college with only a few $100 to my name, I was desperate for work. So the job as winter caretaker at the Finch Lighthouse seemed like a lifesaver. I got to stay there for 3 months. All power, water, heat, food bills would be paid by the owner, and I would be paid a 4-digit sum. Too good to be true, you might say. Finch Lighthouse was a sort of architectural landmark in my town. The town founder, something Finch, had built it, and it had turned our town into a popular harbor. Tourists visited the lighthouse now and then, and it was one of the only major attractions in town. So keeping it in good condition was important. The actual job was pretty easy. Keep the place clean, and make sure that none of the historical artifacts were broken or stolen. The artifacts in question were just an old captain's hat that had belonged to Finch, a diary from the lighthouse keeper in 1893, and the statue. The statue was supposedly carved by Finch himself, and allegedly a valuable antique. It was carved out of some type of greenish-gray rock and depicted a mermaid sitting on a rock, playing a flute and looking wistfully into the distance. The other caretaker was a guy about 5 years older than me. His name was James, and despite our age difference, we clicked pretty quickly. Those first 2 weeks were a lot of fun. As soon as we'd finished the day's cleaning, we did pretty much whatever we wanted. We watched a lot of football and drank more beer than I care to remember. All in all, a lot of fun. Things started getting weird during the 3rd week. James woke me up earlier than usual one morning, telling me that someone had stolen the statue. I shot out of bed. If he was right, then we were in deep shit. We raced each other to the living room and found the statue, sitting where it always did. Not a fan of being woken up early, I gave James the stink eye. "How much did you drink last night?" "I'm sorry, Fred. I swear, it was missing when I came down this morning." "Well, it's there now. You just glanced over it." "It's so weird." I gave him another stink eye as I went to make coffee. For 3 days life was normal, though James paid a little more attention to the statue. Things started getting out of hand during the 4th week. It was around 3 in the morning, and I was awoken by a loud sound coming from downstairs. Thwack, thwack, thwack. I looked over at James's bed, wanting to know if he heard it too. He wasn't there. I threw on my robe and raced downstairs, thinking that someone was breaking in. What I found was slightly more disturbing. James was sitting on the couch, a baseball bat in his hand, watching the statue. Creeped out by the situation, I lightly touched his shoulder. He whirled around, eyes wide, holding the bat above his head, looking like he was going to bring it down on my skull. I covered my face, fell to the floor and scooted back, bracing for impact. It never came. He looked at the bat, looked at me, and realized what he almost did. He turned white and held out a hand to help me up. I didn't take it and got up on my own. I had a dream. The mermaid, she was calling me, telling me that I'm so sorry. Just shut up. I said it much harsher than I intended. But I was so done. I just climbed the stairs and went back to bed. We didn't really hang out anymore. No more watching football, no more drinking together. Something had broken between us, I just wanted to get the next 8 weeks over with and never see him again. I got my wish sooner than I expected. It was on a stormy night in the middle of our 6th week that he finally snapped. I was sitting at the table playing solitaire when he came in, hands practically glued to his head, looking like he was in pain. "Tell her to stop." I sprang up. "What's wrong?" The flute. I can hear it. I don't want to, but I hear it. She won't leave me alone." If I was creeped out before, it was nothing compared to now. James was really losing it. He had cabin fever or something. I needed to get help, but I couldn't let him get violent. The last thing we needed was him aiming a bat at my head again. I tried to make my voice sound soothing. "Hey James, don't worry. I'm going to make a call and see if we can get someone to make the music stop." He grabbed me by the shoulders. His eyes were wide as possible, and I could see that there wasn't a shred of sanity left in him. "I have to get away from her." He let me go and whirled around. His eyes rested on the window. I can still see it all too clearly in my memory. He just bolted. He didn't slow down when he hit the glass. Lightning illuminated the sky as James jumped into the sea. The police were there in about an hour. I told them everything, and they ruled it as a suicide driven by insanity. The owner was contacted. As long as I would agree to stay until 2 replacements could be found, I would receive full pay. As soon as they had collected the body and finished getting my statement, they all left. I watched their cars pull away and disappear into the stormy night. As I looked out the shattered window, I thought I heard something in the distance, almost like a flute. I started paying more attention to the statue. Thank you for your support, everyone. It really means a lot to me. Have a great night. Love, the Mistress.